Shana Tova, everyone. Generally speaking, I consider myself to be a relatively non-competitive person. I like a laid-back game night with friends as much as the next girl. You win some, you lose some, but as long as you're having a good time, who cares, right? But every so often, my competitive streak comes out. And there is no one that pushes that competitive button in me like my brother Clayton. You see, Clayton and I have always had a very healthy and very friendly sense of competition. We challenge each other's vocabulary, our random knowledge of historical accuracies, you name it. But the most epic competition we've ever had comes down to the number of tassels we had on our high school graduation caps. You see, in my high school, everyone who graduates gets a tassel, but you get additional tassels for membership in various honor societies, each with their own colors. Members of the National Honor Society get a gold tassel. People in the Math Honor Society get a blue tassel. Those in the Art Honor Society get the coveted rainbow tassel, which of course I had. You get the idea. I graduated with 5 tassels on my cap. Yes, I am an overachiever, and no, I never met a point that I didn't like. But my brother somehow managed to come out with 6 tassels. Now, I maintain that one of those is very highly questionable. An honor society that he chartered at our school, which I'm pretty certain was created for the express purpose of graduating with 1 more tassel than I had. As I said, friendly sibling rivalry at its finest. But underneath the good-natured fun, that 6th tassel had a deeper meaning. It meant that I was no longer the best, the most successful, the smartest child in the family. My sister was always the outgoing, popular kid who could make friends with anyone. My brother was the witty, funny kid who was really good at sports. And I was the smart kid. And if I wasn't the smart kid, then who was I? So while the tassels may seem trivial, they represent something greater. To be a member in good standing in an honor society, you have to have taken specific classes, earned high marks, completed community service requirements. A tassel means that you worked hard during your tenure in high school and achieved measurable results. I worked hard in high school, and I succeeded. Throughout my life, generally speaking, I've been very fortunate. I found that if I set my mind to something and work hard, I will succeed. Now, that's not to say that I've never encountered challenges and setbacks. I certainly have. But if I prepare and study and work through those challenges, I will achieve my desired outcome. And so on that deliriously happy day that I found out that I was pregnant with my son, my course was set for the next 9 months. I read mountains of books. I investigated thoroughly which foods were friend and which were foe. I researched the safety ratings of every product before adding it to my registry. I signed Jared and I up for classes at the hospital for expectant parents. I did everything that I knew how to do to prepare for this baby. Rabbi was born happy and healthy at 6:24 a.m. on June 2nd. To say that it was one of the most joyous and magical days of my life would be a profound understatement. We were immediately captivated by this tiny boy who stole our hearts so completely. I always knew that I wanted to be a mother, and in that moment, I felt my heart expand in ways that I had not dreamed possible. When Jared placed him on my chest and held us both close, I whispered a Shehechianu to God for bringing me to this wholly perfect moment in my life. 3 days later, on discharge day, the pediatrician came to give Rabbi a final check, and we found out that he had lost too much weight. He wasn't getting enough to eat. All those hours that I had spent blissfully feeding him weren't giving him what he needed. I wasn't giving him what he needed. Somehow, despite my study and preparation for this moment, I had failed him, and I was completely shattered. I felt broken in a way that I had never before experienced. Even though the doctors assured me that Robbie was completely healthy, that this was a very simple fix, that it was in no way my fault, all I heard in that moment was, "You are not enough." In the days that followed, Robbie steadily gained weight, and we found a routine that worked for us. I didn't doubt that he was happy and healthy and even thriving, and yet the feelings of failure and brokenness still lingered, interwoven with moments where I felt completely whole and perfect. I share this story with you tonight because while I recognize that mine is not a universal experience, I am confident that my feelings in those moments are universal. The experience of at times feeling whole and perfect, and at others shattered and broken, is part of the human condition. For many of us, feelings seem to exist in a binary structure. Either we're the smartest person in the room or we're not smart at all. Either we're whole and perfect or we're broken and shattered. But why? Why is it that we feel the need to situate ourselves within these dichotomies? And on the eve of this new year, where do we find ourselves? We see binary structures in many facets of our lives. Either it's dark or it's light, something is black or it's white. In these paradigms, we deal in absolutes. And in many instances, the Torah is no different. In several sections of the Torah, we read about blessings and curses. We're blessed beyond measure if we obey God's commandments, cursed beyond imagination if we don't. This stark binary is illustrated beautifully in the book of Deuteronomy through the ritual of 2 mountains. Moses speaks to the people instructing half of the tribes of Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Joseph, and Benjamin, to stand on Mount Gerizim to proclaim the blessings, and the remaining 6 tribes, those of Reuben, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Dan, and Naphtali, to stand on Mount Ebal and proclaim the curses. Now the blessings are beautiful. The Israelites will be blessed in all manner of things, in their travels, in their cities, in their fields, and in their flocks. The curses, on the other hand, are terrifying, and as prolific as the blessings. Cursed they will be in their travels and in their cities. God will let loose against the Israelites calamity, panic, and frustration in all of their enterprises they undertake, so they will be utterly wiped out because of their evil doing in forsaking God. The creation of this binary system, these 2 separate mountain peaks, creates a forced perspective whereby success is the blessing and failure is the curse. And if failure is the curse, it's no wonder that we place such unrealistic expectations upon ourselves. This notion of success and failure is literally Torah Sinai, Torah from Sinai. Torah which has been ingrained in us and passed down through the generations. So how do we reconcile such a stark duality? In this system of twin peaks, is this how we are meant to understand success and failure? Is this the system by which God asks us to measure ourselves? Rabbi Emily Langowitz reminds us that there are 2 other rituals that are required of the Israelites upon entering the Promised Land. The first is the ritual of Bikurim, the first fruits. The second is the declaration, Arami Oved Avi, my father was a wandering Aramean. What does it mean to wander? And why is it imperative that the Israelites recite this perplexing declaration prior to the ritual of blessings and curses at the mountaintops? Rabbi Langowitz notes that the commentaries all agree that the Oved, the wanderer, is someone who doesn't quite meet the societal expectations for success. She then points us to a poem by Hebrew poet Leah Goldberg, from the poems of the son who is Oved, who is a wanderer. In this poem, Goldberg writes of the wandering son, his travels, his many mistakes, the hardship and range of emotions his family endures as an absence, and finally his return home. In the moment of his return, his mother welcomes him, saying, "Your father will not forgive you who chose the forbidden path, but rise and receive the blessing of your father's loving wrath." This, says Rabbi Langowitz, is why we must acknowledge the legacy of the Oved, the wanderer, before the ceremony of the 2 mountains. And Oved walks the path between the 2 mountains. He can be blessed without being forgiven. He has the capacity to experience love and anger at the same time. He has failed expectations and still gets to come back inside. In the metaphor of the 2 mountains, we need not be mountaineers, but rather wanderers. We do not have to climb the mountains and declare ourselves either cursed or blessed, but rather we walk the path in between. And that in and of itself is a blessing. In the first days of motherhood, Those feelings of failure and brokenness lingered until I received a voicemail from a very dear friend. She said to me, just in case you need to hear it, you are enough. In those few words, she gave me what I needed most to hear, a reminder that wholeness and brokenness oftentimes walk hand in hand, wandering down the same path. So in case you too need to hear it, I say to each and every one of you tonight, you are enough. And because sometimes I need to hear it too, I am enough. I'm perfect the way I am, and a little broken too. Shana Tova. Now I invite each of you to take a moment and reflect on how you are perfect and how you are broken. As you entered the sanctuary, you received cards and pencils. Please write how you are perfect on the yellow cards and how you might feel broken on the orange cards. Don't include your name on these cards, they will be anonymous. In a few moments, we'll collect them, and your reflections will become our prayers for tonight as we weave them into our service. So as a community, we have thought about and reflected about how we are broken and whole. These are the ways that we are broken. I am anxious. I care too much about what others think. I don't take good care of my body. I don't think of others before myself. I miss my mother who died recently, and I feel sad sometimes. I am broken because I have made mistakes that I cannot correct. My second child was stillborn. Every 16-year-old can get pregnant and have a healthy baby, but my son died. I'm always going to be an imperfect parent. I lack religious and spiritual connection.
Depressed, low self-esteem, internal hurt, unable to forgive myself. Struggling to be a good parent to young adult son. Somehow failed to teach him to study and focus on classes. Stressed about grades, worried for my future, uncertain on many outtakes of the world. Struggling with my gender identity, care too much about what my mom thinks, get annoyed by my husband, literally broken knee, have lupus, that sucks, don't sleep well, stressed. I am broken because this is my first high holidays since losing my parents.
I sometimes strive to be perfect, which doesn't happen. That failure can be difficult and make me feel broken. I don't spend enough time committed to my faith. My life is not what I imagined it would be. I have some physical and mental areas that need help. I'm trying to get that help. I'm getting older and notice my memory isn't as good as it used to be. I reach conclusions, judgments, too quickly.
These are the ways that our community is perfect. I am kind, honest, smart, and respectful. I don't feel as though I am perfect, but I strive to be. I try to make healthy, tasty meals, volunteer, keep a Jewish home. I'm not perfect, but I hope to be.
I am perfect just the way I am. I am my own perfect self. I'm perfect in my love for my family. I care so much about others and their happiness. I care about others. I respect others. I smile a lot. I am a happy and positive person. I love and have time for the elderly.
I am patient. Unto myself, I am whole. I'm perfect because of my health and happy family.
And these are the ways that we walk the path between, where we are broken and we are whole. I'm perfect because I try hard every day. I'm broken because I feel like I can't do anything right lately. I'm perfect because I recognize the strength of community. I'm broken when one of my children is unhappy. I'm perfect because I always see the good in others and try to get them to see it in themselves.
I am broken because I have anger over what I can't change. I am perfect when I wake up. I'm broken because I can't do everything for everyone in my family. I am perfect. I am imperfect because I have mobility problems. I have poor energy, which has made me stop doing the work that I love.
I am broken because I'm not the best at schoolwork. I am whole about my love for others. I am broken. I have trouble viewing myself as perfect. I am perfect. I always assume a good intent. I am perfect in the way that I always try to see all that is good in everyone.
Tonight we have reflected, we have listened, we have learned, and we have grown together. We have shared what it means to each of us to be broken and to be whole. And so we pray as we begin this new year together. When the fear of failure threatens to overwhelm us, may we remember that success is not synonymous with perfection. When we feel broken and alone, may we reach out to those who can remind us that we are enough. And when we are faced with the two-mountain worldview, may we bravely walk the path in between. I'm thankful for my life, body and soul. Help me to realize that I'm beautiful and whole. I'm perfect the way I am, and a little broken too. I will live each day as a gift I give to you.